Good evening. Good evening all. Okay. So this is Satish Kumar, Master Trainer at Profenaa Technologies Private Limited. Okay. So in today's session, we can go to discuss about what is Agile methodologies. Okay. So Agile methodologies. So at first, before we enter into the Agile methodology, so we just start from the SDLC methodologies. So what are SDLC methodologies? So SDLC methodologies are process and practices used by software development team. So the software development team can follow the process. So we can already discussed about the SDLC. So software development life cycle. So the SDLC methodologies are the process and practices used by the software development teams. So for what purpose? In order to successfully navigate the software development life cycle. So here discuss that software development life cycle. So before enter into the SDLC, just revise that SDLC, software development life cycle. So what is meant by software development life cycle? So the software development life cycle contain various stages. In each stage we get certain processes. So likewise requirement, design stage and developing stage, testing stage, deployment and maintenance. So operation and maintenance, this will be the final one. So comes to the SDLC methodologies. SDLC methodologies are process and practices used by the software development team. So in order to successfully navigate this SDLC life cycle, in order to successfully navigate the software development life cycle, we can use the methodology to navigate this one. This will be named as the SDLC methodologies. Okay. So the main function of the SDLC methodology is to navigate the software development life cycle. Okay. So in SDLC methodologies, there are n number of SDLC methodologies are available. Now we can going to discuss about the Agile methodology. We can mainly focus on Agile methodology because these are the most widely used one. Okay. So what is Agile methodology? Agile is an approach to project management. Agile is an approach to the project management that centers and around incremental and iterative steps to completing project. In order to complete the project, we need to follow some certain methodologies, which is nothing but the SDLC methodologies. Under the SDLC methodology, we have Agile methodology. So Agile methodology means the iterative and incremental approach. Agile methodology is nothing but the iterative and incremental approach. So iterative means the repetitive ones. So iterative and Agile methodology, in simple term, Agile methodology means iterative and incremental approach. So Agile iterative means repetitive one. So repetitive one. So the process will be repeated again and again. So like this, once the application is designed, then developed, they can tested and deployed. Next process will be cycle. The cycle will be repeated again and again. This will be named as the iterative process. And second one will be the incremental approach. Incremental approach means adding the new key features to the application. So while updating the application, this will be named as the incremental approach. For these approaches, we can go for Agile methodology. For the iterative and incremental approach, iterative means the repetitive one and incremental means the adding the key features to the already available application or updating the application. Okay. So in Agile methodology, both the testers and the developers are in same group and not in the same location. So while coming to the testing and developing team, both of them are working in the same group. So both the testing team and developing team are working in the same group in Agile methodology, but they are not working in the same location. Maybe they are in the different locations. Okay. So in simple term, Agile methodology means the iterative and incremental approach. Iterative means the repetitive one and incremental means adding the key feature to the application or updating the application. Okay. So next point, stages in Agile methodology. So what are all the stages which are available in the Agile methodology? Okay, the first one will be the requirement stage. So in requirement stage, we just get the requirement of the application. So what's the application contain? So it's the requirement stage, and then design stage. Second stage will be the design stage. In design stage, the application will be designed, and the third one, development stage. So in development stage, the developer can develop the build. Once the developer developed the build is moved to the testing team, then the application is going to be tested. This stage will be considered as the testing stage. So the first one, requirement stage. By gathering requirement of the application, we can go to design the application. After the design process completed, they can enter into the development stage. So once the application is developed, then the application move to the testing stage. After the complete the process of testing, it can be moved to the deployment stage. So deployment means release the application in the live environment. Once the application is deployed, we can able to review the application, whether it will be functional, in order to check the functionalities of the application will working properly or not. So this will be the final stage. So the cycle will be repeated again and again. Likewise in this diagram, the first stage requirement, once the requirement completed, design will be completed means development, testing, deployment, review. So the cycle will be repeated again and again. This will be named as the iterative approach. Okay. So this one will be considered as the iterative. Iterative means the repeated one. Okay. So next one. So why do we go for Agile? So what's the purpose? So there are n number of methodologies, like the waterfall methodology, V model, okay, so iterative model. So there are number of models are available. Why do we go for the Agile model? So what's the importance of Agile model? So why do we go for Agile? So the first one will be the more control. So the Agile model contains more control in the testing or develop entire process. In the entire process, they contain the more control. The first one will be the more control, and second one, once we have more control means we have the better productivity. So once we have more control in the production means we have better productivity. Once the productivity will be better means the quality of the build also will be the better one. So once we have the more control means we get more better productivity. Once the productivity of the build is better means the quality of the product is also better. So once the quality of the build will be better means the customer will satisfy. So the customer satisfaction. So in the once the customer satisfied means we can get our investment also. So the first point will be more control. Due to this more control, we have better productivity of the build. Once we get the better build, better produced build, we can get the better quality. So likewise, once the productivity will be better means the quality is also better one. Better quality. And fourth one will be the customer satisfaction, and fifth one will be the return of investment. Okay. So these are the reasons we can choose the Agile methodology. So most of the companies, they are working under the Agile methodologies. So these are the reasons they comes under the Agile methodology. Because of these reasons, they can prefer these Agile methodologies. Okay. So principles of Agile methodology. What are the principles of Agile methodology? So Agile methodologies means the iterative and incremental approach. Okay. So next one will be the principles of Agile methodology. Customer no need to wait for long time. The first principle is the customer no need to wait for long time. But while compared to the another methodologies, here they just goes to release some piece of software. Once a piece of application completed means we just release it to the customer. So customer no need to wait for the entire application. So no need to wait for long time. So we develop, test and release a piece of software to the customer with a few number of features. So once the login process will be developed, designed, once they are developed, once they are tested means they are released to the customer. So they can get some piece of software. The piece of software will be the login module. Okay. So they can get some certain module of the software also. So they can't able to wait for long time. They just get them piece of software. Okay, third point, we can accept or accommodate the requirement changes. The main important thing, we have the requirement changes. The requirement changes are accepted in any stage of the application. Okay, so requirement changes are accepted in any stages of the application in these Agile methodologies. The first one, customer no need to wait for long time. The second reason, we develop, test and release a piece of software to the customer. So they no need to wait for the entire application to develop, test and deploy. So they just get a piece of software. Once they completed the login module means they get release it to the customer. They get some features. Okay. So third point, we can accept or accommodate the requirement changes in any situation. So and the fourth one, there will be better communication between the customer, business analyst, developer and the tester. So there will be a better communication. There will be good communication between the customer, business analyst, developer and tester, because we once we release the piece of software means they just test it. They just either the customer can check whether they can meet their requirement or not. If it will meet or means okay, this module, particular module will be completed, so they can get enter into the next module. So likewise they can once we release the piece of software, they will get the reviews also. So these are all the important principles of agile methodologies. Okay, next one, what are the agile? So what the agile contains? So what are the things which are available in agile? First one, agile roles. What are the role players in agile? And second one will be the artifacts or documents in agile. So what are the documents which are followed in agile methodologies? And third one will be the ceremonies or meetings. So what are the meetings which are conducted in agile methodologies? These are the main things we can going to discuss. So agile methodology simply means iterative and incremental approach. Iterative means the repetitive model, and incremental means adding the new feature to the application, or adding a key feature to the application, or updating the build. Okay, so what are the main important thing of agile methodology? We just give the piece of software to the customer. Okay, so what are the roles? What are the role plays in agile methodologies? What are all the role players in agile? So first one will be the product owner, and second one will be the scrum master, and third one will be the scrum team. Okay, first one will be the product owner. So product owner declare the requirement and requirement release date. So the first role of agile methodology will be the product owner. Okay, so product owner declare the requirement of the update. So what is the requirement? What is the requirement? So the product owner can declare the requirement and requirement release date. So when we need to release that requirement, and priority of requirement. The priority will be mainly depend on the profitability of the product. Okay, so the product owner can declare the first role of the agile methodology will be the product owner. So product owner can declare the requirement and requirement release date, and also the priority of the requirement. So the priority is mainly depend on the profitability of the product. So they can declare these three method. Okay, so first one will be the requirement, second one will be the requirement release date, and third one will be the priority of the requirement, depend on the profitability of the product. This is comes under the product owner category. And second one will be the product owner can accept or reject work item result. So we can do some work. So we can, depending on the requirement of the product, we can design some application. So we can design that build, and then we can develop piece of software, and we can test the piece of software and release it to the product owner. So the product owner can have accept or reject work item result. So product owner is the client or client assigned person. So the product owner may be the client or client assigned person. Okay, so product owner can declare the requirement and requirement release date, and also the priority of the application. So product owner can have ability to accept our application and also to reject our application. So product owner who is nothing but the client or client assigned person. So these are the first role which are available in the agile methodology. And the second role will be the scrum master. The second role which are available in agile methodology will be the scrum master. So first role product owner, and second role will be the scrum master. So scrum master can manage the team. So team means both the developing team and also the testing team. So because in agile methodology both developing and the testing team are in same group only. Okay, so the scrum master is the person who can able to manage these both teams. So in order to manage these both teams, they can assign a person which are named as scrum master. So the scrum master can be assigned by the company, or from the client side they can assign it. So what are other roles which are available in the scrum master? So scrum master is responsible for setting up of team, and also the scrum meeting invite is responsible for setting up of team, and also the scrum meeting invites. So what's the setting up of team? So in order to communicate between the developers and testers, so we can't directly communicate with the developers, or we can't directly communicate with the testers. So the developers cannot directly communicate with the testers cannot directly communicate with them. So in order to make communication between them, the Scrum Master can do some processes. So and also in order to maintain the Jira tool. So Jira tool means in order to once the likewise in the sprint moving anything. So these are all the process which comes under the category of Scrum Master. Okay. The Scrum Master can manage the teams which contains both the testing and developing team. And next one, Scrum Master is responsible for setting up of team, Scrum meeting invites. Third one, Scrum Master is appointed by the client or company. Okay. So next point, Scrum team. So next one will be the Scrum team. The major roles which are available in the Agile methodology will be the product owner, and the second one Scrum Master, and third one will be the Scrum team. So who is Scrum team? The team usually about 5 to 9 members. The Scrum team can contains the 5 to 9 members. The Scrum team can contains usually 5 to 9 members. The whole team involved in development and testing processes. So the whole team involved in the development process and also the testing process. So 5 to 9 members means, so while consider the 9 members means 5 members are in developing team and the 4 of them are the testing team. So this will be changed depending on the project. Okay. So the whole team involved in the developing work and also the testing work. Team manage its own work and organize the work to complete the sprint. So in order to complete the sprint, we need to do some work. In order to manage it, we just manage our work. Okay. The Scrum team can also able to attend the Scrum meetings. The main responsibility will be able to attend the Scrum meetings. Okay. So Scrum team is nothing but the both developing and testing team. The team usually contains 5 to 9 members. Team manage its work. Okay. The Scrum team can also able to attend the Scrum meeting. These are all the roles of Scrum team. So first one, product owner. Product owner can explain the requirement and also the requirement release date, and the third one, they can able to and also they can explain the profitability of the product. Sorry. Okay. So who is product owner? Product owner is nothing but the client or the client assigned persons. Okay. Next one, product owner can accept or reject our work. Next one, the next role will be the Scrum Master. Scrum Master is the person who can able to manage the both developing and testing team in order to communicate between them. And the third one will be the Scrum team. So which contain both testing and developing teams. Okay. So these are the major roles which are available in the Agile methodology. And next one, what are the artifacts in Agile? So what are the documents which are followed in Agile methodology? So what are the artifact in Agile methodology and what are the documents which are followed in the Agile methodology? The first one will be the user story. The first one will be the user story. User stories are the short explanation of the functionalities of the system under testing. Okay. So what is meant by user story? User story is nothing but the requirement. See, another name will be the requirement, otherwise it will be named as future. So this will be named as the user story also. So user story are the short explanation of the functionalities of the system under test. So short explanation of the requirement. So our requirement will be shortly explained. So otherwise, what are all the functionalities? So for example, while considering the Facebook application, we can take n number of functionalities. Likewise, the login functionality, and second one will be the message, and third one will be the help module. So there are a sign up module, there are a number of modules. So in order to test the each and every functionality will be comes under the category of the user story. So user story can explain the short explanation of the functionalities of the under system under test. For example, in order to test the login page means we just says user story as an. So user story can start with as an app user. As an app user, I need to verify the login page of the application, login page of the login module of the Facebook web application. This will be the short explanation of the functionalities of the system under test. This will be named as the user story. So for example, as an app user, I need to verify the registration process of the Amazon web application. So in order to verify the Amazon web application registration process, So we just consider this process will be as a particular user story. So in order to check these functionalities of the registration process of Amazon web application, it will be considered as a particular user story. So as an app user, I need to, so the user story mainly starts with as an app user, the term as an app user. So as an app user, I need to verify the registration process of the Amazon web application. Okay, this will be the first one, user story, and the second document will be the acceptance criteria. So the difference between the user story and acceptance criteria. See that the first one, user story, means a short explanation of the functionalities of the system. So acceptance criteria is nothing but the detailed explanation of the functionalities of the system under test. Okay, so short explanation comes under the category of user story. In order to explaining the user story detailing means comes under the category of the acceptance criteria. So these are the detailed explanation of the functionalities of the system under test, which is going to show what we have to do. So what we have to do. So what we have to done in the particular user story. These are detailedly explained. This will be comes under the category of the acceptance criteria. So these are the difference between the user story and acceptance criteria. User story means short explanation, while that comes under the acceptance criteria, it will be the detailed explanation of the user story, which are the functionalities of the system under test. Okay. So for our example, while considering the acceptance criteria of the same Amazon web application registration process. Okay, so enter at first, in order to register, in order to test the registration process, we need to enter the valid username, then we need to enter the full name, and then we enter the, so what are the required details which are available, we need to enter everything. So enter the valid username, enter the full name, enter the email address, and create the password, create the register button, and then click the register button. So these are all comes under the acceptance criteria. So the short explanation will be the just check the registration process of the Amazon web application. In order to make that registration process, we need to enter these all entire details. So this will become under the category of the acceptance criteria. So these are the difference between this user story and acceptance criteria. So user story means a short explanation, while comes under the acceptance criteria, it will be the detailed explanation of the user story. Okay, the third artifact, the third document which are maintained will be the product backlog. The important one will be the product backlog. So product backlog is nothing but the collection of user stories captured by a Scrum product. So the single user story. So while we just divide the entire application into the particular module. So the particular modules comes under the category of user story. So while collecting the entire module, or while collecting the entire user stories and placed in a particular area, it will be named as the product backlog. So product backlog is nothing but the collection of entire user stories. So collection of user stories captured for a Scrum product. In order to do some Scrum product, in order to deliver the Scrum product, in order to test the Scrum product, in order to develop the Scrum product, we just collect the entire user stories which are available in that particular build. So this will be named as the product backlog. So product backlog is nothing but the collection of user stories captured for a Scrum product. So it is a collection of user stories captured for a Scrum product. And the next one, product backlog. So product backlogs are prepared by the product owner. So product backlog means collection of user stories captured by Scrum product. So it is who can prepare this product backlog. So we cannot go to prepare the product backlog. The developers or the testers or the Scrum master cannot able to prepare this product backlog. The product backlogs are mainly prepared by the product owner. Okay, so the product backlogs are mainly prepared by the product owner itself. We cannot go to prepare this product backlog. So the product backlog means collection of user stories that are captured for a Scrum product. Product backlogs are prepared mainly by the product owner. We cannot go to prepare that product backlog. The product backlog are also maintained by the product owner. So the Scrum master cannot able to maintain this product backlog. The product backlogs are mainly maintained by the product owner itself. So the product owner itself can create that product backlog, so can prepare the product backlog, and they itself can maintain that product backlog. So the main responsibilities comes under the category of product owner. Okay, so this will be the third document. First one will be the user story, and second one will be the acceptance criteria, and third one will be the product backlog. So next one, so the fourth one will be the sprint. The main important thing will be sprint. So sprint is nothing but the set of period of time to complete the user story. In order to complete the particular user story, how much period of time we need. So in order to complete that particular user story is named as the sprint. So just to consider the login page of the Amazon web application or registration page of the Amazon web application. So in order to test that so this will be taken as the particular user story. So for that we get written some acceptance criteria also. So this will be taken under the product backlog also. So in order to test that, or in order to develop that, in order to both develop and test that particular registration module, registration user story, how much time of duration we need to do this process, it will be comes under this named as sprint. So sprint is nothing but the set of period of time. So the period of time required to complete the user story. In order to complete the user story, so the particular duration, the main name thing will be the duration. So the duration which are required to complete that particular user story which comes under the category of sprint. So who can maintain the sprint? It is decided by the product owner itself. So the product backlog is also maintained by the product owner. The sprint is also decided by the product owner. Usually how many days the sprint contains? The sprint contains 2 to 3 weeks of time. So usually the sprint contains the 2 to 3 weeks of time. Okay. It is decided by the product owner. Usually the sprint contains 2 to 3 weeks of time. So sprint means the set of period of time. So in order to complete the registration process of the user story, first user story we taken will be the registration process of the Amazon web application. In order to develop and test that particular registration process of the Amazon web application, the duration we needed will be comes and named as the sprint, set of period of time to complete the user story. Okay, so this will be named as sprint. So what means the sprint backlog? So next one will be the sprint backlog. So what's the difference between the sprint and sprint backlog? Sprint means it will be the duration for the particular user story itself, but the sprint backlog means it will be duration for the entire user story. So entire user story which are available in the product backlog. Okay, so these are the difference between the sprint and the sprint backlog. So sprint means set of period of time to complete the particular user story. So sprint backlog means set of period of time to complete the user stories which are available in the product backlog also. Sprint from the product backlog. Okay, so these are the major difference between the sprint and the sprint backlog. Okay, the first one we have discussed with the user story. So user story means short explanation of the functionalities of the system under test. So as an example, we need to see as an app user, I need to verify the registration process of the Amazon web application, and the second thing will be the acceptance criteria. So short explanation will be named as user story, while the detailed explanation of the user story will be named as the acceptance criteria. So we just see some example for the acceptance criteria also. So for example, while registering, while make the registration process of the Amazon web application, we need to enter the valid username, full name. So what are the field which are available, we need to enter everything. So this will be the acceptance criteria for the particular registration process of the user story, particular user story which are available in the registration process of Amazon web applications. Okay, and the third one will be the product backlog. So what's the product backlog? So product backlog means collection of user story captured by the Scrum product. So product backlog means the collection of user stories captured for a Scrum product. Okay, so product backlogs are mainly created by the product owner. So single user story, then acceptance criteria will be detailed explanation of the user story. So collection of user story means for an application contains n number of user stories. While collecting the entire user story and make them, they are dumped in particular area which are named as the product backlog. Okay. For that, what's the purpose of that? To develop the Scrum product. Okay, so product backlogs are prepared by the product owner. The product backlogs are maintained by the product owner itself. Okay, so those are prepared and also maintained by the product owner itself. And the next one will be the sprint. So what's the difference between the sprint and which are required to complete this particular user story will be the named as the sprint. Okay, so the duration required to complete the particular user story will be named as the sprint. So if the duration required to collection of user story, nothing but the product backlog, which will be named as the sprint backlog. Okay, so for the particular user story it will be named as sprint, for the entire user story will be named as the sprint backlog. Okay, next one, The final one will be the burn up and burn down chart. So what's the burn up chart and what's the burn down chart? What's the difference between this burn up chart and burn down chart? Burn up chart illustrates the amount of work completed in a project. So the burn up chart means illustrate the amount of work completed in a project. So in a project, how much of work completed are mentioned in the burn up chart. The burn down chart illustrate that amount of work pending in the project. So while take the project, so amount of work completed, these are all maintained in the burn up chart. Amount of work are pending, which are all maintained in the burn down chart. So these are the difference between the burn up chart and burn down chart. So the burn up and burn down chart are used to trace the progress of a project. So in order to trace the progress of a project, we can go for the burn up chart and also the burn down chart. So burn up chart means amount of work completed in a project. Burn down chart means amount of work pending in a project. So these are all the These are all the documents which are maintained in the Agile methodologies. So first one will be the user story, second one acceptance criteria, third one product backlog, fourth one sprint, fifth one sprint backlog, and the sixth one will be the burn up and burn down chart. Okay. So next one. Okay, so we discuss the roles. What are the roles which are available in Agile methodologies? So first one, product owner, scrum master, scrum team, and what are all the artifacts or documents which are maintained in the Agile methodologies. And the last one will be the what are the Agile ceremonies or meetings which are available in the Agile methodologies. So first one will be the sprint grooming. The first one will be the sprint grooming, and the next one will be the sprint planning. So first one, sprint grooming, and the next one will be the sprint planning. Okay, so and the third one will be the daily stand-up calls, and the fourth one, sprint review meeting, and the fifth one will be the sprint retrospective meeting. So first one, sprint grooming, second one, sprint planning, third one, daily stand-up calls, and the fourth one, sprint review meeting, and the fifth one will be the sprint retrospective meeting. Okay, so what's the sprint grooming? And who are all supposed to attend the sprint grooming? So it is attended by the product owner, scrum master, and the scrum team. All of them are attend this sprint grooming. So sprint grooming is attended by the product owner, scrum master, and scrum team. So it is conducted by the product owner. Who can conduct this sprint grooming? Sprint grooming is conducted by the product owner itself. Product owner explain the user story. So the meeting duration will be 1 hour. Okay, so sprint grooming means it is attended by the product owners, scrum master, and scrum team. So all of them are available. Who are available? They can attend the sprint grooming. So it is conducted by the product owner itself. The product owner explains the user story. The meeting duration will be the 1 hour. Okay, so next one, sprint planning. So first one, sprint grooming, next one, sprint planning. So sprint planning means which is nothing but user story points will be given by the developer. So in sprint planning, user story points will be given by the developer. Complexity of the user stories will be estimated based on poker card techniques. So depending on the Fibonacci series, we just give points to that user story. So for the every user story, we need to give some points to that every user story. So depending on the complexity of the user story, we need to give the points. So from that points, we get chosen that user story into a particular sprint. So the sprint contains maximum 40 points. Above the 40 points means the sprint is divided. The user story will be split out. Otherwise, the maximum point of the user story will be split out into two ways. So into two types. Okay, so the user story points will be given by the developer. The developer can give the user story points. Complexity of the user stories will be estimated in this poker card technique. Poker card technique means nothing but the depending on the Fibonacci series 1, 3, 5, 7 depending on the Fibonacci series 13. So we just give the points to that particular user story. A sprint contain the maximum 40 points. Above the 40 points means the sprint will be divided. Otherwise, the maximum point user story will be split out into 2-1. Okay, work is selected during this sprint planning. Work is selected from the product backlog and pulled to the sprint backlog. So during that particular sprint planning stage, work is selected from the product backlog and pulled to the sprint backlog. The meeting duration will be 1 to 3 hours. It is attended by the scrum master and the scrum team. The product owner cannot attend this sprint planning. it is attended by the Scrum Master and Scrum team only. Okay, so user story points will be given by the developer. Complexity of the user stories will be estimated based on poker card techniques. Work is selected from the product backlog and pulled to the sprint backlog. Meeting duration will be 1 to 3 hours. It is attended by the Scrum Master and Scrum team. Okay, the third one will be the daily Scrum meetings and daily stand-up calls. So what's the daily Scrum meeting or daily stand-up calls? So stand-up is designed by to quickly inform everyone of what's going across the team. So the stand-up meeting is designed to quickly inform everyone of what's going across the team. It's not a detailed meeting like with the 1 hour duration or 2 hour duration, 3 hour duration. It will be the short term of the meeting. So nearby the 15 minutes meeting only. Okay. So it's just to give what are the works daily completed. So we'll be discussed in this meeting. It is not a detailed status meeting. Following will be discussed in this meeting. So what are all discussed in this sprint daily Scrum meeting or daily stand-up calls? First one, what did I complete yesterday? So what did I complete yesterday? What work I will on today? What will I work on today? Am I blocked by anything? So these are all we discussed in this Scrum meeting. So Scrum meeting is attended by the Scrum Master and the Scrum team. Scrum meeting is conducted by the Scrum Master itself. So meeting duration will be 15 minutes only. So they just explain the what they can do in this entire day. So this will be the short explanation of the meeting. Okay, these are the daily Scrum meeting. And the fourth one will be the sprint review meeting. So what's a sprint review meeting? After completion of every sprint. Okay, so after completion of the every sprint, there may be a number of sprints. So after completion of every sprint, team will give showcase to the product owner. So the team member, we need to give them showcase to the product owner. Scrum team will show the demo of the application with the current sprint completed stories. So after completion of every sprint, once the particular sprint is developed and once the particular sprint is tested, once they are tested means the team members need to, the Scrum team can need to give the showcase to the product owner. They can have ability to accept or reject that showcase. So Scrum team will show the demo of the application with the current sprint completed stories. Meeting duration will be the 1 hour. The meeting can be attended by product owner, Scrum Master and Scrum team. So all of them need to attend this meeting. Okay. Okay, sprint review meeting. So sprint review meeting is after completion of every sprint, team will give showcase to the product owner. So first one, sprint grooming. In sprint grooming, we just get the detailed explanation. After that, sprint planning. So in sprint planning, we need to give the story points to the user story. And next one will be the sprint review. So in the sprint grooming, sprint planning, it will the work is selected from the product backlog and pulled to the sprint backlog. And the next one will be the daily stand-up meetings or daily stand-up calls or daily Scrum meetings. During that, they can explain the what are all they done in the entire day. So okay, and the next one will be the sprint review meeting. So after completion of every sprint, we need to give some showcase to the product owner. Scrum team will show the demo of the application with the current sprint completed stories. The meeting duration will be 1 hour. So it is attended by the product owner or Scrum Master and Scrum team also. Okay, so next one, the final one will be the sprint retrospective meeting. The last one will be the sprint retrospective meeting. So what's the sprint retrospective meeting? Retrospective helps the team to understand what worked well and what didn't. So in order to understand what worked well and what didn't work well, so for this one we can go for the retrospective meeting. So retrospective means help the team to understand what worked well and what we didn't. Team will rate the sprint out of 10 and discuss below. So for example, just entire application contains 10 sprint. Okay, so the team members need to give points to that particular sprint, points to the each and every sprint depending on this point. So what will work well, what will work didn't well. So we just get some ideas about it. So how we need to clear these kind of issues. So these are all discussed in this sprint retrospective meeting. Okay, so what went right, what went wrong, and third one, what can be done for next sprint. Meeting duration will be 1 hour. These are all discussed in the sprint retrospective meeting. So sprint retrospective meeting help the team to understand what worked well and what didn't. Okay, so next one, advantages of Agile methodology. So these are all the things which are available in Agile methodology. So what's mean by Agile methodology? Agile methodology means the iterative and incremental approach. Iterative means repetitive and incremental means adding the new feature to the application. Okay, so what are all the principles of Agile methodologies? We discussed some principles, and also what are the stages which are available in the Agile methodologies. Next one, what are all the roles? Roles in Agile methodology. Roles one with the product owner, Scrum Master, Scrum team. Okay, what are all the documents? So document contain user story, acceptance criteria, sprint backlog, product backlog, at the burn up and burn down chart. And the next one, Agile ceremonies, sprint grooming, sprint planning, daily stand-up calls or daily scrum meeting, sprint review meeting, sprint retrospective meeting. So what are the advantages of Agile methodology while compared to another SDLC methodologies? So there are various SDLC methodologies are available, but comparing to those of it, what are the advantages of Agile methodology? First one will be the requirement changes are allowed in any stage of development. In any stage of our development, we had the requirement changes because we just release the piece of product to the customer. So they can make some certain requirement changes. It will be cleared in the next stage itself. So requirement changes are allowed in any stage of development. Next one, release will be very fast. So because of releasing the piece of software to the customer, we just get some each and every reviews. So we just release the application very quickly. So customer no need to wait for long time. It is easy to adopt. So next one will be, it is easy to adopt. So first one, requirement changes are allowed in any stage of development. At the any stage of development, we can give the requirement changes. Okay. So release will be very fast because we just release a piece of software to the customer. So we just the release date of the application will be very fast. Okay. So customer no need to wait for the long time. So last one will be, it is easy to adopt. So that only the most of the companies are following the Agile methodology. So while enter in the IT industry, most of them they can follow Agile methodologies only. So what are the disadvantage of Agile methodology? So likewise, these are the advantage. There will be similar disadvantage. One will be the less focus on design and document. So the Agile methodology not give that much of importance to document related ones, and also the design related ones. They cannot give that much of importance in documents and design. So these are all the disadvantages of the Agile methodologies. Okay. So these are the things which are followed in the Agile methodologies. Okay, thank you. So we will continue in the next session. Thank you all.